and female be friends after one has expressed interest in the other?
I think yes. Like, why not? Depending on degree of friendship. Like, you can have close friends, not so close. But I think so.
I think it has to do with the circumstance. I think that if you're in a relationship, or we talked about monogamous relationships, and you have a friend that has expressed that interest in you, or let's say you've gotten married and you know there's a friend that has expressed an interest in you, I think that can be that can create an issue within your marriage or your relationship, because you never know what the next person is thinking. So I think that at the end of the day, it's all about the kind of situation that you're in. If you're single, that's a whole different story. But if you're in, I have a big thing on respect. I'm gonna respect you enough to I don't even need you to ask me any questions in reference to the next person, because I handle that situation already. So for me, I don't have to. I make sure there's not a question in terms of whether, I guess, in reference to my respect level for that person.
Yeah, I think it boils down to maturity and your level of friendship. I think you should be able to move past that. I think it could be awkward. I think you should be able to move past it. But that's up to the person. That's up to the people involved. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a little subjective. It's up to the person. But me personally, I don't know. I think you could be able to, but I mean, I guess there are circumstances. Some people cannot move past it. So I'm not sure how to answer.
Yeah, it's possible. It's just getting past the first awkward moment. Because I have a close friend. She expressed interest in me. It is just say it was quite awkward. But we got past it. They were pretty cool. But then, like, one of the persons said, there ought to be a level of boundary, because once interest is expressed, it's like, if you're in a relationship with another person, you ought to be on guard. Sometimes you don't want to give it up. It's like, there's so many different options. But if that person comes really hard at you, you have to make a choice. So I have to say, yes, you can be friends after that. I've actually expressed feelings for someone, and they were a friend, and they turned me down or whatever. And we're still cool. I think it ultimately comes in where, like, did you try to be friends with them so that you could sneak into being their girlfriend or boyfriend? Or did you try to be friends with them because you actually liked them as a friend, and then feelings developed otherwise? And then it also comes in, like, how do you react when they say no? Do you then start to pursue them like a stalker, like a Joe? Or do you, like, just accept it and say, okay, cool, and fall back into your friendship lane? And ultimately, if someone hears that, okay, you turn them down, and then they start freaking out, you can't go back to being friends at that point. You just ruined it for everyone. So, yeah.
But I agree with what was said just now. There's really just so many different ways to look at it. I've been in that position myself as well, and I'm still close friends with the person. It's just a matter of setting up, but really it depends on the situation. If everything if it's going to be awkward, then that'll be setting up boundaries. If there's a relationship, that's boundaries go along with that as well. If both parties are single, then I think it's just a matter of how the person who got denied took it, or if the feelings are mutual and the relationship isn't wanted at the time, then it's a matter of how are we going to move forward without, or how we're going to move forward from here. But I think there's just a lot of different ways to take that question in particular.
I was just going to say I agree that it all comes down to respect. I think trust is very important as well, because you have, and maturity, you have a lot of people that if the person that you're now dating knows that you have a friend that used to be interested in you, or you guys used to date, you have persons that would question every time you speak to them, or I think trust is very important in that situation. Yeah, you may be able to show the person that, hey, you who I'm with, you are important to me, but if the person doesn't trust you, that will always be an issue. You can be friends, but if you don't have that respect and trust and that level of maturity, something like that would never work.
How would you cope if you and your spouse were not sexually compatible?
I had to respond how I first responded. I was like, huh? It's like, how do you mean? I don't think that is possible, especially not for me. So, I mean, as long as we could have children, I guess I could live with that. But I don't perceive that that's possible. Inside, the funny thing about it, inside the Bible, one of the older versions, where Adam says that this is flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, and etc. Instead, he actually just says, "Whoa!" And that's just looking. So if he's just looking and he just freaks out like that, it's highly doubtful that there's some form of sex that I can have with my wife and I don't enjoy it or she doesn't enjoy it. So yeah.
This question a bit loaded. This is too much. First of all, with this question, why did you marry him in the first place? Did you marry him just for sex? No. So that shouldn't be an issue. Yes, we do have needs, but that shouldn't be the main focus of our relationship. So yeah, I don't know how to answer it because I don't have a spouse yet, and I really don't know how to go about with it. But if we didn't marry for sex, so I don't think that should be an issue.
What I think with this question, of course, most of us, if not all of us, cannot literally relate from experience. But
Thank you.
From the word of God, what we see is that if it's your spouse, the whole goal is intimacy. Intimacy is more than physical intimacy, your spiritual intimacy with Christ and emotional intimacy. I believe that once you prioritize God in terms of your seeking intimacy to Him with your spouse, and you're really satisfied in Christ, I believe the physical aspects will fall in line. See, we go about it the wrong way. We try to find satisfaction in our spouse. That's not where the source of satisfaction is. The source of satisfaction is in Christ. And once you have the source of satisfaction in Christ, I feel like even though in a sense it may not be compatible, and so forth, God will make it compatible. So is there anything too hard for the Lord? That's my side.
Okay, theologian, 23.
We had a message just now.
Man, I gotta go to the
Y'all didn't get the organ. God damn.
I think to a certain degree there can be incompatibility. Like someone said, not all of us have experience or whatever. But anyway, I have an older friend, much older gentleman. His wife had experience, and before he did, some guys he used to deal with in high school, and he got married. He was a virgin, so he didn't know anything. And because you know soul ties, and so she had because she had more active sexual life before marriage. It was different for her than it was for him, because he had nothing to compare with. His wife was all he knew, and then she stepped out of the marriage because of that, because that soul tie was something she dealt with way back. And I think that's why the Bible is so important when it says, "Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." And like our theologian just said, God can give you that satisfaction, and God can do that, but we have to take the necessary steps of obedience for Him to do that. The Bible says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of a sound mind." But if we're constantly worrying and we're constantly just living a worldly life, that peace that God promises, we're never going to get that peace because we're not abiding under the conditions for which that peace to come. And so when it comes to satisfaction and sex and relationship, I think the first step is abiding in that place of obedience. And it first starts with, hey, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it all the issues of life. And I study that phrase, the issues of life, and
I mean, you could go on with that with so many things, from STIs, from infidelity in your marriage, from spending money to, I mean, so many different things. So I think, like, what this conversation is right now is like someone mentioned, you know, having fulfillment in God as a single person and finding satisfaction in the Lord. And I don't think, like someone put it this way, a relationship is not where you go looking for love, it's where you go to share love. You're confident in who you are, you're a mature believer, you don't have all these insecurities, and you're looking for love and satisfaction, and you're trying to find your identity in someone else, but you should have the identity rooted in Christ, so that when you get into a relationship, you're not going there looking for love, but you're there to share love. So I think that's where it starts.
I agree with that. I agree. We have two theologians who are ready for the Bible conference now.
Man, I can't add or take away from what having was good, in my opinion. And it's true. At the end of the day, it's what we are looking to give, not what we are looking to receive. So, I mean, it's all good. I can't say nothing.
I agree with what he said, but I think having a simple conversation, which would be awkward, I can imagine, but just sitting down and speaking to your spouse, this is someone who you're going to be with for the rest of your life. I mean, if it were me, I would say how I felt, and at that point, I feel like we should sit down and talk about what we could do so that it's an enjoyable experience for the both of us. As you get married, you're supposed to be able to enjoy sex.
I totally agree with what you're saying. I think that if there's any kind of discord in a sense, or any kind of frustration there within your marriage, I think that is, like she said, a simple conversation. If you're willing, a marriage takes work. You know, one way or the other, you're gonna have to put the effort. You're gonna have to put the time. You're gonna have to put the work in to. I'll even say to maintain it, because a lot of times it may feel like we can say, "Oh, well, we get married." Biblical foundations, you know, everything like that. But there's also the emotional side of things. There's emotional side for women. There's emotional side for men. But I think that dealing with all those emotions and being able to express yourself to each other in reference to how you feel about something, communication is key. And I think that like we put it, you're in it for the long haul. So at the end of the day, it's super important to communicate that frustration there, because you're gonna have frustrations. You're gonna, whether you don't like the fact that she leaves hair in the sink, or whether you don't like the way he leaves up the toilet, something like that. You know what I mean? Like the toilet seat, it's always something that you're gonna have to communicate. And even sexually, sometimes I'm pretty sure it can be like that as well.
I think someone already said it, but ultimately, you didn't get married to have sex. I mean, obviously, you know, we would hope that Christians are waiting for marriage, whether as virgins or as abstinent or whatever, or, I mean, celibate or whatever. And so I know a lot of people place, like, importance on it after having waited for so long. But ultimately, you didn't get married for sex. And so, I mean, I agree with, let me try to remember y'all numbers, 4 and 9, that, you know, you can talk it through and all that other stuff, and with our theologians that, you know, there's nothing too hard for the Lord. But that's ultimately what, like, my initial answer was you didn't get married for sex, but I do also agree with what was said in this group.
You don't think that's kind of similar to the love and finance? Because sex and marriage, I mean...
So you're trying to say you can't, not that you can't, but you can't have marriage without sex? Is that what you're asking?
I mean, two humans laying in a bed together.
But I mean, okay, I understand what you're saying, but what if, hypothetically, your mate ends up being disabled after you get married? And so my thing is, if one of us was in that type of situation where it's like, it's not readily available, or it's not what we think it would be, having, especially as Christians, hopefully waited or been celibate or whatever, then what do you do? Or how do you respond? Because, I mean, what you do is, figure it out. But how do you respond when you realize that you and your spouse are not compatible?
That's where your foundation comes in, being rooted in Christ. You should be able to, and that's where I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree to an extent, because we are put here to procreate, and that involves sex. We're put here to praise God and to procreate. So we can't have kids without having sex. It's not like, okay, I'm getting married to you, and all my mind is sex. No, it's a given, just like how being married or being in a relationship, love is a given. At some point, you just know that certain things are expected, and why not have the best of it? I mean, that's how I look at it.
I will say though, you can technically have a child without having traditional sex nowadays.
Yeah, I know that. But
like the young lady speaking right now, like you're correct, like sex is a gift from God, because why did God give it to us? And the Bible speaks about it in the book of Titus. It talks about the young widows, their husband had died and they're still young, and it says let them marry lest when they start wanting against Christ. And it's talking about, hey, it's the urges that we all human beings have. And I think another way there can be another incompatibility in sex is when one partner has a higher sex drive than the other. I remember watching a TED talk about it. It's like very educational. And some women have a higher sex drive than their husbands. Some husbands have a more sex drive than their wives. And so that can be another factor in, incompatibility. And hey, it's a natural urge that every human being has. And one person has it more and the other doesn't. And so, how do you cope with that? And another TED talk that I watch, it says, why do people cheat? And the gentleman said this: men cheat to stay in a sexless marriage. Okay, hey, they want to stay with their wives, but hey, they have that urge, they want that fulfillment, so they go out. And he said, women cheat to get out of a sexless marriage, which I don't know if he's being biased or not. I don't even know. I've never been married. I've never had a sexual life. So it is a gift, and there can be that incompatibility, and that's where communication comes in. So
I agree with you, and I say what I said because, growing up in church, you barely hear persons talk about sex, and when they do, they give it such a bad connotation. They only talk about before marriage, sin, and I want to be able to hear a married couple talk about you don't want to sit down and talk about sex, but you understand. You understand what I'm talking about. Don't make it seem like it's a sin, like it's dirty. You're not supposed to do it before you're married, but it's not an ugly thing.
Yeah, I agreed with the young lady. The book of Proverbs talks about it, Songs of Solomon, and so many young people have been hurt by it because it has, they think about it, it's like something dirty. And I believe the world can take a good thing and turn it into, make it a seemingly horrible thing. So,
I totally get what she's saying, and I think in certain churches and among certain Christians, it could seem like it's made to be dirty and filthy or whatever. But I think a lot of times the church is just placing emphasis on fornication and lust. So basically, giving into lust. So it isn't so much like that the church is saying, sex is bad, blah blah blah, sex is bad. It's more so like lust and giving into certain temptations and the things that come with love. So, I see what she's saying, but I think it's a lot more of an emphasis on just the sin of lust and what it leads to than sex is bad, you should do sex.
We have a whole honest manual, in the book of Songs of Solomon. So, if it's bad, God wouldn't write, a manual on it. So.
Yeah, my last statement, I agree with the young man. A lot of people do just talk about the bad aspect, but I believe half of information or half education is a bad education. Because even with money, you could talk about, hey, the love of money is the root of all evil, and people chasing money in Hollywood, they selling their souls. But talk about the positive of
finances, how to build finances, how to build equity, how to build what is the difference between good credit and bad credit, how to build up your portfolio and stuff like that. And so I think once you give one half, you major so much on one half, and we don't know the positive aspect of it. So half of education or half of information is just can be bad information altogether.
What do you think is a major downfall in Christian relationships?
I guess I would start off by saying it comes down to one of the major downfalls maybe is lack of clear and good boundaries. Because like how the Bible says, let not be a good be evil spoken of. So sometimes you have to come at that table of negotiation again and kind of basically strategize how you're going about dating in a way that is Christ honoring, putting Christian in a relationship again and putting Christ, at the center of it. So I think it's a lack of clear boundaries and, sometimes not having that accountability, that you need to have with somebody maybe who can, keep you on your P's and Q's and ask you really hard questions. So I think that's me, and then if there's any more, I will weigh in, but I'm still thinking about the question.
I think a lot of young Christians neglect community. They have the attitude of this is my business. Some church folks don't need to know. Some people even have the attitude that my parents don't really need to be a part of my relationship. But for what the gentleman just said, setting boundaries, and I believe what's the purpose of having boundaries if you don't have accountability? And I believe having mentors and counselors in your life there. And another thing is compromise. So many young Christians compromise just to be in a relationship, just to help someone. I remember listening to message by Miles Monroe, and he said some girls still go in a bush, find a man in a bush, drag him out, and expect great things from him. Look where you meet him. And I believe so many people, we compromise just to be in a relationship, just to have someone, because everyone has someone,
So I would say not being your true self and putting on a front during the relationship. I think that's a huge downfall in Christian relationships that I've seen personally.
And I have to agree with her right there, because that's exactly what I was thinking. Oftentimes we just want to act cute, we want to be cute, we want to be what the world and everyone else perceives as Christian, and so we neglect to be completely honest, and in doing so we don't let our spouse know exactly what it is that they're going to be dealing with during the relationship. And then one day we go and slip up and we show what the true side of it is, and now the person isn't fully equipped to handle that, because all this time you're being Princess Daisy, now you acting like Bowser. So I feel like the truth and being honest about our faults and our good sides is important. Agreed. Like someone, older gentleman told me, he said, you learn more about your spouse in 6 months of marriage than you will in 2 years of dating. This one person I know, he had a woman he was dating for the longest, right? And during the dating phase, she had an English accent. When he got married, he found out that she was completely Bahamian, no Filipino at all. She had complete Bahamian accent. And I'm like, bro, if that is not... Okay, I just have to finish on that. That is just perfect. Some scary stuff, like personality disorder, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna give a little small list real quick. Just a few things.
List?
Yeah, a little small list of things that I feel like are the downfall for Christian relationships. In Christian relationships, I think one of the biggest things nowadays, especially with because sex sells, I think sexual immorality. I feel like that's one of them. Lack of communication, transparency, some things that you guys have pointed on. But also, I
feel like a lot of Christian relationships, the issue that a lot of them have is that they're not pushing each other. They're not growing together. Bible talks about iron sharpening iron. At the end of the day, we talked about that standard, that standard of where we, what we want in the sense of a relationship. And for me, I feel like one of the biggest things is just that person may not be where. I'll use it like this: that person may not have a sword, but they have a knife. And I don't know why that I use that illustration, but they have something that it may not have. They can only use a knife, but they can't use a sword yet. But at the end of the day, the more and more you work with that person, they're growing, and you guys are growing together to do something great for the Lord. So I think pushing each other is definitely something that a lot of relationships should be working on. But yeah.
But I think everything that he said just now all ties into really just losing sight of God in the relationship itself. So it's one thing to go into it, but it's just keeping that walk with God, and just walking towards the high mark together.
Yes, sir. Totally agree. You hit it on the nail just now.
Everything is good. I really love several points like boundaries. Boundaries are so important because what I think happens a lot is that the closer you get to Christ, the more you realize your sinfulness and your fallen nature. And sometimes I think we underestimate our fallen nature. As much as you say that I'll never do this and that, it's by the grace of God you'll never do it. The Bible says make no provision for the flesh. There's a reason God tells us to flee fornication and so forth. The boundaries are so important. Give no place to the devil, give no place to the flesh. Being accountable, I like what one of the first said, be accountable, you need my counsel. Connected with that is that one of the things that I've seen that, and we all just feel of it, when you're in a relationship with a person, you're emotionally involved. Your judgment is impaired, it's not normal. So when you're in a relationship with this person, what can happen is an outsider can see issues that you cannot see. You're blinded by your emotions and so forth. So if you're seeking wise counsel, someone that really cares about you, say, hey, listen, this may not be the right person, this may not be the right time, but unfortunately, sometimes in our pride, we want to do things our way. We want to do it, we want to, in a sense, we want to just follow our emotions, follow our will, instead of trying to seek God's will. How much people, I don't know if y'all like me, right? You heard someone, I remember talking to a young man, I said, so-and-so, you feel like this is the will of God for you? He said, yeah, she is. I fasted and prayed for 7 days. Let's just say she's someone else's wife at this point. So sometimes you're emotionally involved, but we don't see it. And I think a final point for me, what I would say is that when you go in a relationship with someone, what is the goal? Do we count the cost that as a husband we ought to love our wife as Christ loves the church? Do we get that? We, the church, do we understand how much time we fail? As much as we fail and disappoint God in the sense, Christ always loves us and takes us back. He tended towards us. Do we understand the cost of being a husband? That we ought to love our wives in all of their faults and failures and so forth. We ought to count the cost. I don't think we really think about it. I think when it comes to marriage and so forth and relationship, we love the idea of marriage, but not the reality of marriage. Like the person said, said that you learn more about yourself in 6 months. That's when the reality kicks in. We like the idea of it, but we're not really ready for the reality of it. I think that's a major downfall. And one of the next point, that was in the final point, is examples of Christian relationships. One of the things that I know in my life, one of the preachers who I knew, the way he treated his wife, what that did for me was like I want to treat my wife that way. That's the kind of relationship that I want. If you can see more examples of it instead of looking towards Hollywood, if you can see more examples of that would really help in our Christian relationship.
I agree with what he said. That's all I want to say.
I just want to say amen.
Is it mandatory that the husband and wife be on the same page theologically?
Yeah, I think that they should be on the same page theologically. Because at the end of the day, you need to walk together in one accord. So at first, it would be fine. If one person thinks this and one person thinks that, like say a different denomination. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be that dividing line of what goes and what doesn't. And at the end of the day, there can only be one truth as well. So it's a matter of finding what exactly that truth is, and that really should come from the Word. But even moving further, if that relationship is going to develop and flourish even further, then it would get to the point where children come into play. Maybe if that's the case for the relationship. But if children are a factor, you can't teach kids two different things. That'll create division for them, and they'll be confused in their religion, and they won't know where to go. So if they see a miscommunication between the parents and a diffusion of that relationship with God, then that could affect their spiritual walk and their spirituality in a negative manner.
I think most definitely it's mandatory that a husband and a wife be on the same page theologically. Because the Bible says, how can two walk together except they agree?
And I have to say, yeah, it's definitely mandatory. The Bible itself actually makes it a principle to live by, in which you be not unequally yoked.
Definitely have to be on the same page. You have to agree.
Well, I struggled with this question because I thought you meant as far as knowledge goes. And I think there's always room for leadership and for growth in a relationship when it comes to your walk. So I wasn't gonna chime in, but since you're saying that it's more so based on basically the teachings of the Bible, like basically like you said, like speaking in tongues and these different baptisms and stuff like that. Yeah, I think you'll definitely need to be on the same page and things like that, because it could get awkward. Especially if you're supposed to be on one accord and you're supposed to be one body. Certain belief systems, like one time I had an interest who she didn't believe in the Trinity, and that was kind of an issue for me. That couldn't go any further really, because I mean I tried to push past, but that wasn't gonna work for me. So it's like certain things, it's like there's no room for differences.
My brother, number 21, I feel the same. This is more on a story aspect. With me, I can remember I fed the young lady reindeers. She ate up all my food. So it came to the topic of Jesus Christ.
What happened?
I fed her reindeers. She ate up all my food. It came to talk, so I get down to business. I said, so what do you think about Jesus Christ? She was like, well, I don't think much about him. I couldn't speak anymore. I said, what? You don't think much about Jesus? Where did my Wendy's go? But it broke me down that we obviously weren't on the same page. I was poor. I thought we were, but we weren't on the same page. That is something, as Christians, we cannot compromise on at all. We have to be on the same page theologically. That is so important. And then, what I think too, it is such a blessing that as I listen, that how it is like I would say somewhat of a simple answer, that how can two walk together except if you agree? It seems like it is a simple answer, but in the church, the reality is not so. How much people do we know are dating those who aren't even saved, who aren't on the same page theologically speaking? So to have this mindset and this truth in our heart and the stand in it, it's really a blessing from the Lord. And I don't think you ought to take it for granted.
I think that's where keeping your standards set in. You're gonna date somebody being on the same level, believing in the same things and not believing in the same things is important, because it's gonna get weird, it's gonna get awkward. There will be arguments. And looking at a marriage standpoint, if we are one body, and I don't believe that you should be walking up in the house speaking things that I cannot understand, I'm gonna be annoyed because I don't believe in what you're doing. So yeah, I feel like that's where keeping your standards even in that area is important.
Yeah, and like someone said,
doctrine is what we believe and teach, and that also determines our convictions. And it's so bad when two people who are trying to be in a relationship have different convictions. I know people, they have so many loose ideas about Christianity, and even the small things for me would be a huge turn off. Like if someone refers to God or Jesus Christ as the big man upstairs, that that shows a lack of reverence. That's how I take it. So even the way people view God, the way you view God will determine how you live. I honestly believe that.
Just agree with 17. The concept of God is very, very important because it determines your interaction and reaction with reality. So in reference to that, if you have somebody that has a totally different concept than God than you, then they will want to solve problems differently than you do. So I believe, you have to be on the same page theologically. You have to see God in the same light in order for things to work. Or we are going to clash. A kingdom divided against itself cannot stand.
I think also too, this just goes beyond theology. It goes in like the practical aspects of dating and marriage. Because when you're dating, let's say you get married, right? A TV show is on. You know that through your conviction that, hey, that ain't right. Can't help it there. They're starting to be like, yeah, we could watch that. And then it goes on to the children. Daddy, I can watch this? Yes. Mommy, I can watch it? No. And you got the confusion. So you have to be on the same page theologically, and then when it comes to what you watch, what you allow into your house, you guys have to be on the same page.
I have to say with that, I'm sorry to prolong this, but that's with him saying that, I don't think on every single issue, y'all ain't agree. Like, case in point, my parents, right? I remember specifically when I was like 7 or 8. I think this is the correct age. Anyway, when I was around that age, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone came out, and I wanted to watch that part. And like, my dad was fine with it, but my mom had a huge problem with that. Like, she was like, my children ain't practicing witchcraft, blah, 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 blah. So, like, I remember that was a big bucket, and I think I was going to cry. Like, I wanted to watch that. And my dad, he still took me, and he took me to watch it. So, like, as a married couple, y'all still ain't going to agree on everything. She got over it, by the way. But, yeah, she realized that, she probably kind of was doing too much in that area, but... But yeah, like, I think in certain instances, y'all ain't gonna agree. Like, especially as far as like your children goes and stuff. There's gonna be moments where y'all clash a little bit. But I think you can move past it as a couple.
I just wanted to add that it ties in with your negotiables and your non-negotiables. Remember, my pastor said that there were always non-negotiables that he always looked at in every relationship. Like, there were certain things that he would not compromise on, no matter what. But yeah, he also said that there were some negotiables whereas, it's just simply a matter of preference. So there are some things in a relationship that will just be a matter of preference because the Bible does not explicitly, or implicitly teach on certain things or certain practices. So with those things, you have to be a little bit understanding and be willing to compromise on the clear teachings of the Word of God, on who Christ is, and all of these different doctrinal standpoints. Those are the non-negotiables. When you walk into a relationship, you have to know, where am I going to negotiate? Where am I going to have on the table that we can compromise on, as well as what I'm not going to allow? That's a discussion to be had during the dating period before everything is finalized, in my opinion. So after that, if you're not that discussion before, well, dog, eat your lunch, because you can find out, there's a bunch of stuff that you all didn't have on the table to discuss. So negotiables and non-negotiables, but do you agree that you wouldn't compromise on in the world and let that person know this is what I believe up front, and then the things that you are willing to compromise on, you will let them know? So